I'd like to call, is it on? All right. I'd like to call this June 17th regular board meeting of the Medina City School Board of Education to order. This is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public comment during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Chambers, when you're ready, roll call, please.
Mr. Nichols. Ms. Parkhurst.
Here.
Ms. Pritchard. Here. Ms. Moore.
Here.
Mr. West.
Here.
Thank you.
First up is I would entertain a motion for the approval of the regular meeting minutes from the May 20th regular board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the May board meeting.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, both of you. Any questions or comments on the May 20th meeting minutes? Hearing none, Mr. Chambers?
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst.
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard.
Aye.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Thank you.
Are there any additions, removals, modifications to the agenda? Anybody?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, anybody? Mr. Chambers?
Ms. Pritchard.
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst.
Aye.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next up, we have items for information and discussion. Mr. Sable, you're up first.
Just waiting for us to load here, moving a little slow. First up tonight, we'd like to present our past strategic plan to the Board of Education. We just begun our new strategic planning process for the next 3 to 5 years. That strategic planning process is coming to a close, which is why we want to provide an update on all of our past goals. The new strategic plan process began with our district administrators at last week's administrator retreat, where we worked collaboratively to not only review the current plan, but also gain ideas for the new plan moving forward. We have a board retreat coming up on July 30th. We're going to be spending half the day on July 30th with the board working on our new strategic plan led by the impact group. Going into next school year, into the fall, we're going to be engaging all of our staff as well as our students in our community in helping us to develop our new strategic plan for the future. I do anticipate with our new strategic plan that it will not only be a direct reflection of our portrait of a bee, but in addition to that, it's going to be expanding upon goals and initiatives that we already have in place. So as a district, we're not looking at completely new directions. We have the same goal. The point of the strategic plan is looking at our pathway and continuing to reach and exceed the goals that we have in place. So Ryan, I'm going to ask you at this time if you could broadcast the slideshow, and I'll go up to the podium to kick things off. So our strategic plan contains several different parts that reflect the various areas within our school district. Obviously, academic achievement and technology reigns tops on that plan. The whole purpose why we exist as a public school district is to provide an education for our students. So one of the main goals within our strategic planning process is the education of our students. We all know that academics and the work of education goes way beyond just the core curriculum areas, and that's reflected in our Portrait of a Bee, which we'll be taking a look at through this process as well. Again, not looking to make any major changes, but maybe some polishing to our Portrait of a Bee. But our Portrait of a Bee reflects competencies even beyond the core curriculum. We want well-rounded students that are learning in a good culture and is developing student wellness as well as preparation for post-secondary, whether it's jobs, military, or some other sort of education that includes the soft skills. In addition, it's important that we take a look at our facilities as well as safety security. What we want from our facilities moving forward, whether it's maintaining what we currently have or making adjustments and moving in new directions. And of course, finances, which has been a big topic of conversation at our board meetings recently as our state legislators work through the state budget, but having adequate finances and financial plans in place to ensure that we can meet the goals that we're going to set within our new strategic plan. Communications plays a key role. You'll see that in our past plan, and I anticipate moving forward, this will be a key component. Having that collaborative relationship with our community, with our neighboring communities and school districts, with professional organizations, and at the state level as well, to make sure that it's a collaborative process as we're moving through and working with students in Medina City schools. And staffing and human resources is a vital piece. We're only as good as the people that are working with us and our children. So making sure that we have a strategy in place to get the best individuals working with our students has to be a priority. And then ensuring that we're meeting the needs to make all students successful as well. Another piece that we're going to be taking a look at as part of this strategic planning process is revisiting our mission statement as well as our vision statement. We have not re-explored these two things, at least in the last 10 years that I've been part of the school district. Yet we've had a lot of change in direction and growth with the deeper learning and a Portrait of a Bee. So it's vitally important that we revisit the mission and vision statements, make sure that those align to our current goals and our student and district needs for the future. So I think some modernization of these two statements and making sure they align with the other work that we do is important. The other piece that we've talked about in some of our preliminary meetings is making sure we have a mission and vision statement in place that people can connect to, they know, and they understand. And to be quite frank with you, I don't know that we could go out to any of our employees or students and have them really be able to say what our mission vision statement is. I think most of them would point to our Portrait of a Bee or our motto that we've used for the last many years of every student every day. So creating a mission and vision statement that people can actually connect through and connects with the work we're doing is going to be a key part of this process. At this time, I'd like to invite Tina Cassidy, our Director of Instruction, so she can review. These are our past goals of our previous plan and updates as to how we've met those goals.
Okay, so our academic goals really built on our last strategic plan as well. So we have been moving in this direction now for for around 8 years, and it's really exciting that the growth that we have made. Our academic achievement goal 1 was to create and offer students essential life skills opportunities through daily curriculum, to partner with local and regional businesses, organizations, and nonprofits to create student internship and mentorship programming, and to utilize community resources to impact students' learning. So we have tried to add in life skill opportunities so that students can learn essential life skills through our elective coursework. We added Middle School 101. We added a cooking class. We have financial literacy, which is actually not an elective anymore, but it was an elective originally, and that because that was something that our community said that they wanted. They wanted students to learn about financial literacy. And we have a home maintenance class, which I know that you guys know about. We also started an elective fair. Lisa started an elective fair for all Medina High School students so they could learn about these opportunities, and they would know that they were available for them. We created a day shadowing program for students in grades 6 through 12, and that was to complement our CEO program. Our CEO program is a intensive internship program where students spend 40 hours in the field. We wanted a less intensive program so that students could kind of go out and just for a day visit and see if they were interested in a career. So we started a day shadowing program. Our CEO program has doubled since we started it. So we started with 1 teacher, and I think about maybe 15 kids or 11 kids. We're now over 40 kids, and we have 2 teachers teaching the class. And we have expanded our use of community resources to give students real-world problem-solving opportunities from preschool all the way through grade 12. And I know that I've put in my board reports the numbers from Spark Medina and how they have been working with our students. And also the Ohio University Extension Office has been here, and they actually came to a board meeting and presented on how they worked with some of our kindergartners. So they have done a lot with us, and they've given our kids lots of great learning experiences. And then our second goal was to advance curriculum instruction and assessment practices so that we would engage learners in problem-based 21st century learning experiences. To ensure consistent delivery of curriculum from classroom to classroom and building to building, and explore and expand service learning opportunities. And one of the ways that we did that was we started capstones in 5th, 8th, and 12th grades. So through our capstone, we're able to assess how students are doing on the Portrait of a Bee competencies, and they expanded service learning opportunities for students, and also career awareness. We also have, and I don't have this up here, but we started a service learning class at the high school so that students who are interested in doing service learning could do that as part of their high school experience. In order to ensure consistent delivery of curriculum from classroom to classroom and building to building, we expanded our curriculum coach positions, and they have been instrumental in helping us and helping our staff deliver our curriculum in a more consistent manner. We brought project-based learning training to staff to encourage enhanced, deeper learning experiences for students. Our curriculum adoptions are all guided by our Portrait of a Bee. We want to make sure that any curriculum that we bring into our district is deeper learning ready, and so our students get those experiences. And we have partnered with Battelle and the Ohio Personalized Learning Network to stay abreast of best practices. And next, Mina Pizzica will come and talk about our third goal.
All right. Goal number 3 is about academic achievement. This one is related to supporting our academically at-risk students and supporting them through enhancing our resources and programming for them. We did this by purchasing the Branching Minds platform for grades 6 through 12. This helped us assist them in aligning evidence-based interventions aligned to those students' specific needs, and then systematically monitoring those students. We also hired 3 MTSS coaches. MTSS is multi-tiered systems of support. Those coaches help us at elementary, middle, and high school. They help facilitate those meetings, and they also help us streamline our interventions and also meeting with those teams to specifically monitor those students at tiers 2 and 3.
All right, technology had one goal. It was to design and implement the district's technology integration plan, which focuses on the utilization of technology as a transitive creation, advancement, and connection tool. So we finished and maintained the one-to-one learning model to the district technology for all students, grades K through 12. We updated district classrooms with interactive touch panels to create a more interactive learning experience for students, 408 in total. And we provide and maintain equipment for all levels of learning, ranging from iPad touchscreens devices for our students with special needs to more robust equipment for high school labs and classrooms. We provide staff level PD for the new software and devices individually or in group format.
Instruction is really important, but so is climate culture and student wellness for both our students and our staff. So this goal looked at making sure we provided ongoing professional development for our staff related to students and their mental health and wellness, but also our staff's mental health and wellness. So we provided a number of different professional development trainings for our staff, including trauma-informed care, question, persuade, and refer, which I would encourage everyone to look into. I always do a little sidebar here that we learn CPR for heart health, but we also should be learning QPR for mental health help. Hope Squad, mental health first aid, reframing behavior, and again, we probably could have filled the page with the different trainings we've provided. Again, on the other side, we also want to make sure our staff are well taken care of, and so our HR department has done an exceptional job of adding an EAP program for staff so that we can take care of them as well, and also a summer wellness book study for staff to make sure we're taking care of their mental health as well. In addition to that, Mina runs a wellness task force that looks at the wellness of our students and staff. And in addition to that, this goal was looking at creating a task force that looked at our services across the district, because what we hear from a lot of people is, I didn't know you did that, or do you have that? So towards this goal, we did a recent podcast, thanks to Amy, which included staff, administration, and most importantly, our students, that shared what services we offer in the mental health realm to students, including our Hope Squad services, and also what those services are and are not. What mental health services you can access at a school level, and what mental health services are more appropriate to get at a community level. We also expanded our mental health services without adding cost by moving and shifting some of those services from the high school level to the elementary level. And we expanded our collaboration at no cost from outside mental health providers into the school setting. Again, this is a very important area for us in our strategic plan that I'm sure will continue as well once we listen to input. Then we'll have Ryan come back and talk about facilities.
All right, facilities, we had one goal in the facilities, and it was to address the applicable facilities and the infrastructure deficiencies via the comprehensive master's facility planning process, including redistricting, engaging community stakeholders, and determining priorities for potential new construction and or the renovation opportunities. Provide facilities that maximize comfort, student interaction, and learning. So this was carried out with the redistricting we did last school year, where we repurposed 2 of our elementary buildings. One became the dedicated preschool. The other one is the facility that we're currently in now. We use it as the Board of Education meeting room, professional development center across the hall, and then technology uses the lower level of this facility. Another project that we did within this goal was the HVAC building automation control that we did district throughout 7 of the district buildings. So it's not completely district wide, but it's through all the modernized buildings that we were able to incorporate into that new control system. So then the next goal was a facility goal. Number 2 was review all aspects of the physical and the cybersecurity throughout the district, recommend changes to policy and applications of best practices strategies, ensure consistent applications of security protocols, procedures for the district building and events. And this is an ongoing, we do this every year with the security and safety team. We do threat assessments. This was very important when we wrote the grant that provided the cameras for the district, is being proactive in doing these threat assessments. So we do it every year, then we evaluate, and we present that in executive session to the board, and make items on the list, prioritize, and address them as we can. And then this is Dave.
Yeah, our first goal for finances was to create a financial assessment of future facility needs that coincide with the master facility plan. So we take cost savings consideration throughout, or consolidation throughout the district, and redistricting, and this was because of the decreased enrollment itself. We worked with the administrative team to redistrict, resulting in the repurposing of the 2 buildings Ryan has spoken about. We continued utilizing ESSER funds towards facilities. We use the ESSER funds for technology purposes. We were going to be going to one-to-one. ESSER basically kicked that forward, so we used those ESSER funds to move to one-to-one much more quickly. I believe it was within a 3-month time span instead of the 3-year time span. We also worked with, used the ESSER funds for the HVAC that Ryan was talking about. We worked with the Ohio Facility Construction Commission, and when we did work with them, we asked them to determine our needs with the Construction Commission. And basically they were going to put students from the 7th grade into the high school because they were looking at square footage as opposed to this is a hallway and you don't use the hallway to conduct classes per se. But so we decided that that using the Construction Commission was not a benefit to the community or to the school district. Our goal number 2 was to identify key financial metrics to create a district performance report card and measure this to like districts. And the district uses the state district report file, and formerly known as the CUP report. We use this to compare our, on average, our financials and whether we're with, below, or like other districts that are in our county or like districts itself. We also use this to review cost per pupil, administrative cost per pupil, staff cost per pupil, and see the district's wealth evaluation. It also provides the district's median income, so it gives us a lot of information. Also, we, on a yearly basis, we provide enrollment data to the different county school districts, and using this enrollment data, we develop a percentage that we present to the Community Improvement Board and the county commissioners for the sales tax distribution. So that is on a yearly basis. The community or the county schools get together and present their enrollment to each other, and then it's presented. And finally, we have our third goal was to create educational opportunities for citizens and to further understand district budgets and outside factors. The Finance Committee is always a joyous committee for everybody. We have added 3 new individuals. We do have 1 individual here from the Finance Committee that's in our audience. So it's been working for us. We'd like to add another administrator if we can. We also participate in virtual lunches with the superintendent. Aaron has given out financial information to the participants, and so that's getting information out there that they did not have before. We have also placed all of our board information onto our website. This includes the financial information, includes the tax budget, includes the 5-year forecast, includes the finance committee information. And that's out there dating back to 2014. So if anybody has any questions about what you guys see, then it's out there for them. And finally, on a monthly basis, we put the district's financial information in easy to understand terms and make it available to the entire community on the district website. Now, Amy's going to be talking about communication.
As Mr. Sable mentioned, our communications is really a collaborative effort. It really takes everyone in our school district to tell the story of Medina City Schools. And like many of the other goals, the goals for internal and external communication is a continuing process. So we really worked hard to try to meet people where they're at. So the first goal is communicate effectively with community members who have no direct connection or affiliation to the district. Utilize stakeholder data to determine the most effective channel for community engagement, and develop strategies to protect against oversaturation of key audiences. So one thing we did is that we continued to encourage community members who do not have students in the district to sign up to receive our district communications. And that includes our newsletters, which is probably the biggest provider of information about the district. And so over the past 3 years, we've increased our communication in that way by approximately 200 signups. We've increased social media use to tell the story of Medina City Schools through Facebook. We now have about 8,000 followers. Instagram is a new path that we've decided to take that reaches our younger audience. We have about 800 followers and growing. And our YouTube channel has about 2,800. I'm trying to read from far away, 2,600. Then we did decide to discontinue the use of X, formerly known as Twitter, from the district perspective. Athletics finds that that is still a useful tool for them, so they do continue to use that. So we've collaborated also with Medina, the city of Medina, and their social media. So they share our posts and vice versa. We share theirs, just as an extension of trying to reach more people. We have contributed weekly or bi-weekly to the Medina Weekly publication that hits everybody's mailbox every Thursday. So that's a really good opportunity for us to share stories about our school district. We've also been invited to contribute to the monthly editions of Montville Living. So that goes to all Montville residents in their mailbox as well. We've connected with our senior community through Silver Sneakers program at the Medina Community Recreation Center. So I'm always offering information of events that we have going on in the district. And we also try to attend at least one of their meetings in person so that we can kind of provide them with the state of the schools. We've changed the format of our district newsletter. We used to publish a newsletter once a month formerly called the Be Informed. Found that it was very long and the readership was not that great. So we reduced that to a weekly, bi-weekly, sometimes maybe a little longer, but just shorter snippets of information, and the readership seems to have increased because of that. We started a monthly podcast that Chris mentioned called The Hive, Be in the Know, Stories from Medina City Schools. To date, we have recorded 6 editions of that. We've released 4 of them, so I'm getting ready to release the next one. So we'll continue to do that through the summer. And then as we start the school year, we'll begin that process again. We've worked with the Department of Instruction to bring the portrait of B to life through the portraiture practice. This is our second year in doing that, and it was just as successful as the first. Several staff members have had the opportunity to present at conferences and other events locally at the state and national levels as well. The idea is to share what we are doing instructionally as well as share stories of Medina City Schools. And we continue to have a presence out in the community. One prime example is we are at the farmers market every summer, greeting the community, greeting our parents back to the new school year. So that's always a fun time. People like to see their principals and their teachers out and about. Our second goal was to perform a comprehensive website audit to determine functionality and ease of information retrieval, ensure all components of the district website are up to date and consistently monitored. That is a daunting task, but we really do work hard to make sure that information is up to date on our websites. People do go there and they rely on that information to be current. So we've worked to review the website information to ensure that it's relevant, up to date, and make changes where necessary. We took a deeper dive this past year as we're building a new website, so we wanted to make sure what made sense to transfer over. So we're currently continue to work on that with completion currently set for the end of August, so somewhere around Labor Day. We're also preparing for an update to our notification system by the end of June. That is the current date that I have. We've kind of been working with Final Site to get that to happen. But really nothing will change, so communication as you receive it today, you won't notice any difference. Goal number 3 is foster, grow, and promote community relationships and collaborative community partnerships while serving as a central community hub. Effectively link to district support organizations, civic service organizations, local businesses, and other stakeholder groups. For the past several years, we've had the opportunity to deliver the state of the schools in a unique way to our Chamber of Commerce, where we actually have student presentations. And this past year, we invited them to come to our high school for the same purpose. So they were able to enjoy their lunch in our gym and also visit with several students and staff and hear about their project and their learning experiences. We've worked in collaboration with the City of Medina. In particular, we're working right now on their America 250 committee, and we've been involved in numerous committees with the city as support for their programming. We work with local businesses in support of the Community Pancake Breakfast and Spotlight on Students, and the Medina County Art Show, which is a collaborative effort between Main Street Medina and the district, and also includes collaboration with a number of our county schools as well. We've collaborated with Medina Kiwanis Club, the City of Medina, Eddie's Bike Shop, and other sponsors. We used to do Bike to School Week, but since we've redistricted, we still wanted to bring the opportunity for students to learn about bicycle safety and the joy and fun of riding bikes. So this year we introduced the annual Medina Bike Safety Rodeo, and the event this year was held at Mellert Park. And it was really to be able to serve our entire community by hosting it there. So we had well over 200 people attend, which we weren't sure exactly what was going to happen, but certainly look forward to offering this to our community year after year. Many of the schools did end up doing Bike to School Week, so it was kind of a collaboration and making sure that students had the chance to ride if they wanted to. We've networked with the different area organizations, the Women's Networking Group. I'm a Main Street Medina board member, so we have an opportunity to serve on committees there, so I serve on their promotions committee. So these opportunities give us a chance to share our story, but also talk about events that are happening in our school district. And finally, our fourth goal is to develop clear expectations for internal communication regardless of building or department, enhance protocol and workflow to establish consistent delivery of critical information. So we've created a process working with our building principals and secretaries to centralize requests from the community to share information. and we get a lot of requests to do that. So by providing a central hub in the communications office, I've been able to vet those requests and make sure that they fit our best practice on that. So we'll be able to make that information available on our digital bulletin board, Flyer Central. We've basically done away with the practice of sending paper home with students for a number of reasons. We work with central office administration to create a protocol when communicating important information to parents, guardians, students, staff, and Board of Education, as well as community members. We kind of have it's kind of like a snow day phone call. So we kind of go down the list of who receives that information and when. So we found that following that process has ensured that everyone is informed in a timely manner. We've used multiple outlets to share critical information through our websites, up to and including the use of alerts. So it's the first thing that pops up when someone visits our website. So that seems to be working. So snow days, if there's something going on in a building, an event that people need to know about. So it's just a great way to continue to share information. And now I'll turn it over to Jim.
Thank you, Amy. So staffing and human resources, goal number 1 was implement a system of teacher support staff, teacher subs, and teacher support, or support staff subs as well, to a recruitment of the highest quality, diverse professional staff. We did this in several ways. We started with participating in the SOAR Human Capital Project. We spent almost a year meeting with other districts across the state, as well as some national districts, where we talked about what characteristics in this current age are we looking for with educators. And I always want to stress, when I say educators, we mean support staff, every support staff position, everybody who interacts with our students, because it's just as important to us, the custodians, bus drivers, food service staff, as well as the teachers, paraprofessionals, everyone who interacts with our students. We want the highest quality, best people working here. As Aaron said, it all starts, we're only as good as the people that work here and take care of our students. So we participated in the SOAR Human Capital, came up with a portrait of educator, tried to implement that with every hiring that we do in every one of our classifications. We tried to look for unique partnerships. Tina and I worked with the university, or Ashland University, to develop a program for student teachers, that if we could get them to commit to coming here and doing their student teaching, that we would guarantee them some kind of employment for the next school year. A lot of times that only would, we can't guarantee a real job, but we could guarantee them a job where they could interview, or an interview for a real job. But at the minimum, we could use them as a sub, or a year-long, long-term sub, or a building sub. We set ourselves apart from other districts by offering that as an incentive for students to come here, because we figured that if we could have them for part of the school year and see them in action and work with them, we met with them monthly to communicate with them, talk about our district, that it was almost like a year-long job interview for them. A theme that you hear a lot with our strategic plan, we partner with the City of Medina, and City of Medina is also looking for a lot of the same type of employees that we are looking for. So we partnered with them to attend job fairs. We attended Akron Urban League several times. We went to the Career Center. We went to the library. Anywhere where there's a job share, including sometimes we did mini job shares here in our buildings, where we tried to recruit parents as they came into our buildings and talk to them about, what are you doing the rest of your day? Would you be interested in working here? And we were able to obtain some paraprofessionals, teacher aides through that program. And then we constantly were looking at new communication sources of how we could attract people to our district and let them know about our needs. This included a billboard on Interstate 71 that you might remember, that was focused on recruiting bus drivers, a need that we always have. We also took one of our vans and wrapped it in an auto wrap that advertised, our starting wages, our positions that we have available. We're still using that today. We have used community job boards, our message boards out in front of our buildings. We are advertising that. You'll see if you drive by any of those right now, we're in desperate need of paraprofessionals, teacher aides. So we just constantly looked for new ways. We took every city water bill and put a flyer in there letting everybody in the community know that we're looking for substitutes in the following areas. So anything that we could think of to get the word out there that we're looking for high quality staff. And then our second goal was create and implement an audit cycle to gauge operations and personnel capacity in food service, transportation, and the custodial maintenance. We had a great opportunity in the sense that we were changing over 2 buildings. We were changing Heritage to the Helping Hands Preschool, and then changing this building over to our Professional Development Center. That left a lot of district staff in the food service and custodial maintenance area that we use that to kind of right size to see our square footage, our needs, and we were able to absorb everybody through either attrition or moving them to district buildings. So the redistricting process of a district of moving our students is how we did an internal audit of our hiring in those areas and our staffing in those areas. And then the second thing that we, besides the paraprofessionals being in demand right now, our transportation department has tried to undertake all kinds of proactive recruiting measures. We had a Drive the Bus event. We're looking to schedule that again. We also did advertising in different ways throughout the community on the district channels. Anywhere you could think of. Again, the city has a job board too. We partnered a lot with the city. And this is just our way to show the public that we're doing everything we can, because we know it's hard when a student comes home and says, I had a sub or I didn't have anybody to cover this class. We understand that. We know that's not ideal and optimal for learning. So we're constantly trying to think about ways that we can continue to recruit so that we're fully staffed, and not just fully staffed. We never want to settle. We want to still have the highest quality professional staff possible.
And then our last goal looks at success for all students. So we were looking at creating a council to assist in developing a committee that makes sure that all of our students are respected, listened to, and heard. And so we did meet with a group of parents, staff, and community members to focus on success for all students, again, with the goal of making sure that all students, regardless of where they come from or what house they live in or where they originate from, have their needs met in our district. And so we had some good outcomes from that meeting, and again, with the idea of making sure everyone, as Mr. Sable said, that our mission is that making sure we address the needs of all students. And I think that was the last goal. So I get to say thank you. Do you guys have any questions? We're here.
And the timeline for the strategic planning process is to wrap it up before we go on winter break. So my hope is that we have a finalized plan after going through our process in the fall to present to the board for approval, either at our December or January regular meeting. I also wanted to provide the board with an state budget update. I don't have a formal presentation for you this month because there's a lot of moving parts right now with the state budget. The Senate did pass their version of the budget. Some major changes that they made was increasing the 30% cap from the House to a 50% cap. This change in the budget in the present time, and I'm careful to say that, would allow us to proceed financially without the loss of any local funds. The reason why I say it hesitantly is because that is good news for us in the short term, but the concern is the long term. We're always trying to, especially financially, look at the long game. We have, in the past, at times had a carryover above a 50%. It's that carryover that has allowed us to go an extended period of time without going out to the community for additional dollars. In addition, when we're looking at our facilities, and we do have neighboring districts that are currently in this situation, where we may need or want the ability to save funds to put those towards facilities, whether it's doing facility upgrades or looking at new facilities, which would allow us to save the community money if we were in need of going out for a bond. So that loss of flexibility and the short-term savings, I think, loses sight of the long-term benefits and savings that could come out of a higher carryover cap. So we are still advocating at the state level for an increased cap, We do anticipate and expect that there will be a cap in place, but something above a 50% cap, a 75 to 100% cap, I think would be more appropriate for school districts across Ohio, especially when addressing their individual needs. The other portion of the state budget, and another reason why this Senate plan in the short term benefits us, is there is a portion that provides more funding for high achieving districts. That's based off of the state report card STAR system. Since we are a high performing district, that would provide more state funding to us and put us in a better situation. That is not a large amount of funding, but it is additional funding, and we're not going to turn dollars away that can benefit our students. In working with our state organizations, however, there is a lot of concern, and this is where we're kind of in a difficult position, because this is something that helps us, but statewide, it does put many districts that are really at need, that tend to be lower income communities, and need additional dollars in order to improve academics that wouldn't have those funds available under this system. Some other pieces of legislation that are out there as either part of the state budget or House Bill 355, and this is when it's really concerning for our district in terms of long-term potential impacts, but limitations on the kinds of levies that districts would be able to put on the ballot or have in place, the elimination of emergency levies, which we just passed in November, and levy renewals would no longer be permitted. There is also language in there to eliminate inside millage. Inside millage is guaranteed funds that we receive through property taxes. Dave has estimated that would be somewhere between an $8.5 to $8.7 million reduction if we were to lose that inside millage, which would have severe consequences for our district and programming we can offer. House Bill 355 was also introduced a week or two ago, which there's been a lot of conversation whether that would be rolled into the budget plan. I received information actually just this afternoon that that is losing traction in terms of rolling it into the state budget. So I hope that that loss of traction continues, because what that bill would do is require a 60% passage rate in order for property tax levies to go into place. And that would not just implement public schools, that also would impact cities, fire services, police, libraries, any entity that has a property tax levy would be held to that 60% standard. In terms of, just to give you an example of how that would impact us, Dave looked up the last time we as a district passed new money with a 60% rate, and it was in the 80s. So the ability to pass a levy at that rate is not very, very realistic. That Senate version went to the House last week, and the House voted it down. So since the House voted the Senate version down, the House and the Senate have formed a committee, and they are meeting in a committee to hash out what components of the Senate version, what components of the House version, or adjustments to those are going to be put into a final version to eventually be voted on and then go back to the governor. So we're really in a waiting game right now in terms of what we're going to be seeing. The timeline is June 30th, which I checked the calendar today, and that is 2 weeks away. So we should, within the next 2 weeks, have a better understanding of what the financial picture looks like moving into the future. It is still important that our community, our staff, continues to advocate for our school district because no decisions are final in terms of the state budget. This time I'd like to invite Ryan back up if you're not tired of seeing him up there. Annually, we have to present on nutritional standards for our food services and child nutrition. And that annual presentation is required for our funding purposes.
We did that last month. I think it got left on the agenda.
Oh, did we?
Does that ring a bell with anybody else? No? Dave says no. I thought we did it as well.
Okay, we're going to cancel you then.
Okay.
I'm going to take this opportunity to sing the praises of our food services programming, though, since we have it on the agenda. I think I say it all the time, but I've had the privilege to be able to work in 4 different districts, as well as grow up in the public schools, and I have never seen a food service program that puts out the quality of products and food that our food service program does. And then on top of that, they operate, or they're fully self-sufficient, so they don't require support from the general fund, which is just unheard of in other places that I've been. So last but not least, Dr. Kwolek, we did have a policy committee meeting this past month to discuss a few policies, as well as have a second reading on the board.
Yep, so we met, policy committee met, it's June, I think. That's what month it is. And we met on a couple new policies that we'll have for first reading at our August meeting, if we don't have a July one to talk about. And then we'll have a huge first reading probably later in the fall. So we'll talk more about those the next meeting. But again, policies will continue to come out as you see a lot of legislative changes. So you'll probably hear from me a lot. But I really appreciate the time from the policy committee. We didn't used to meet as often, so now we're meeting quite frequently. So
Mainly because all the new legislation that's coming through Ohio, which is causing changes, forced changes to school policy. But I do want to thank Dr. Kwolek and our policy committee for keeping up to date on all of our policies as well, because that is a lot of work. Thank you.
Mr. Chambers, information and discussion items.
Yes, I'd like to change up a little bit here because I have a guest that drove from Cleveland, and it took him over an hour and a half for some reason. I think he said it was raining. And I'd like to introduce Ryan Nelson from Red Tree Investment Group. Ryan's our portfolio manager, and we usually have him here in December, but we couldn't get him in at that point, so he was gracious enough to move it to the end of the fiscal year.
Thank you, Dave. And good evening. My name is Ryan Nelson, and I'm co-founder of Red Tree Investment Group, and it's great to be here. It's been a bit since we've given an update to the board, so thank you for having me here. I have a packet of information that we're going to go through here this evening. Just a quick about who Red Tree is. We are a firm that's dedicated to investing public funds across the state of Ohio. We manage a little over $10 billion in public funds, and give or take, that makes up about 250 schools, career centers, ESCs, et cetera, that we work with across the state of Ohio. Myself and Jennifer Trowbridge, there in the blue, are the co-owners of the firm, and our global headquarters are down in Cincinnati. How did we came to be here with Medina? Way back in 2014, we started a relationship here with the district, and working with Dave and his team on investing a portion of the district's funds, and from there we are at the service of Dave and what he needs here for communication and reporting and et cetera, et cetera. We manage a portion of the district's funds, and we'll get into that in a moment. And one thing I do want to add here is that we serve as the investment advisor, and U.S. Bank serves as a third-party custodian. So when securities are purchased on behalf of the school district, U.S. Bank holds them. So there's a third party that is involved. That is an extra layer of security. As it relates to the permitted investments of the district has an investment policy statement, and it follows the Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 135.14 to a T. The last time the policy was updated was in May of 2021, and that was the last time there was any changes in the Ohio Revised Code as it relates to investments for school districts. What you see here on the page is what Dave has to his disposal when investing funds of the school district. It ranges from bank products to CDs. Star Ohio is the state-run money market program out of the state treasurer's office. And then from there, the district can own marketable securities such as treasuries, agencies, municipal bonds, and commercial paper. Commercial paper was a new investment allocation that we began here for the school district a couple of years ago. And we hold that to a small percentage of the portfolio. But it has come in extremely handy over the past couple of years as the district has needed some liquidity out of the account later in the year. So that has been has come in handy. Generally, the maximum maturity on any one investment is going to be 5 years, but you can own a municipal bond out to 10 years. Additionally, I should add that Dave is required, I know he doesn't like it, but he's required to get 6 hours of investment training annually on a calendar year basis. He has always completed that. I know that because he attends many of my sessions that are CPIM approved. So thank you, Dave, for always being in the audience, whether you like it or not. Just real quick on an economic update. It is not easy giving an economic update these days because what happened about an hour ago is probably stale news by now. But we try to keep to the important items of growth, inflation, and jobs. Just a couple of points on that. The first quarter of GDP and for the United States was negative, and there was a lot talk about that, about why that was negative, i.e. the tariffs. So there was just a large buying of foreign goods before those went into effect. We do pay close attention to GDP because consumers like you all out here make up 2/3 of GDP. So if you consumers are not feeling all that great about what's going on and stop spending, that's not going to help the numbers there in GDP. The job markets have seen relatively stable growth, but it has been on a declining trend. Inflation is lower. I know it doesn't feel that way when you're out shopping, but it is not growing like it was a few years back. And the economic calendar, we do have a Fed meeting here this week. It is a weird week in the markets with Juneteenth on Thursday. The markets are closed. I don't know if you're closed here or not. But banks, don't forget your bank's closed on Thursday if you need to make any movements. Just a couple of points on those economic indicators that I spoke on. We do follow the non-farm payroll numbers each month. It's an indicator of just what's going on with the overall economy. We do continue to add new jobs into the economy, but it has not been at the higher pace that we saw last year. Unemployment does remain at 4.2%, which is still a historic low. All eyes are on this with all of the layoffs that we have seen, the federal layoffs that really will take effect later this year, and how the market will digest that. So all eyes are on the labor markets. Same thing on inflation. Inflation has been trending much lower than it was a few years back. And the most recent numbers even showed that the inflation does remain tame, despite all of the noise that we're hearing from the tariffs. The Federal Reserve wants to see inflation running at 2%, and we're around 2.4%. So we're getting pretty close. It's better than 9% that we saw a few years back. So we're getting there. But again, just some concerns on where we head here in the future with the changing policies on tariffs and how that could potentially lead to higher prices here in the coming year and years. I did like to add one interesting chart when we're talking about the economy, and this is an interesting chart that we have been following, and it relates to who is actually out there spending. I mentioned earlier that consumers make up 2/3 of our growth. Who's doing that? And so this chart here actually is a little concerning when you think about it. So the chart here is showing who actually is out spending. So Moody's here has put together some information, and they say that the top 10% of households, which they equate that to being households that make $250,000 or more, they make up for 50% of all consumer spending. So a small portion of our population is controlling a large portion of our spending. That's concerning when you have it grouped into that. And if you really follow that down the rabbit hole, and why it could be concerning is for those top 10% out there, they probably own stocks, right? They probably have 401ks and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What has happened here in 2025 so far? It's been nothing but a big roller coaster in the markets. We're back to where we kind of were before. But if they start feeling not as happy and great about the economy and have some shaky confidence, and they pull back their spending, it's going to have a much greater impact on GDP. So that is concerning. And it makes sense. If they're making more, they're going to spend more. But if it does create a financial risk for our economy when it's segregated like that. A couple of other points here, just looking ahead. There's a lot. Again, this will probably change before I get back to the office. But interest rates have seen a lot of volatility as well. We are really paying close attention to the Fed messaging. I mentioned consumer confidence is a little shaky. Labor markets are benefiting employers more. You're not seeing these people like jumping ship and making moves like you used to here a few years back. Inflation is expected to rise if the tariffs all go through. And the last point there is the geopolitical risk remain. You could insert whatever term you want there. You know, the latest with going on in the Middle East is certainly on the minds of investors and policymakers. So that's just something to keep you up at night. Some benchmark interest rates. The interest rates they have seen a great deal of volatility as well. The Federal Reserve so far has left interest rates unchanged, but that is expected to change here in 2025. The Fed does meet tomorrow, actually, and they are not expected to make any changes with the Fed funds rate. But just to keep in mind here, we follow the 2-year Treasury when we're making and looking at public fund investing. And the 2-year Treasury has seen quite a bit of volatility. It is less than 4% right now on the 2-year Treasury. And Dave, the Star Ohio, which is a money market program, is around a 4.40, for example. So a very short-term investment is yielding much higher than a longer-term investment. So that means something is just not right in the world, and that means that the Federal Reserve has just been too slow to potentially make some changes with interest rates. So we are anticipating interest rates to fall here throughout 2025 for that. Doesn't sound like the district is looking at any type of borrowing on the very, very short term right now, but keep in mind the 10-year Treasury is what you all would be focusing on if you are ever issuing debt, and we've seen a rise in the 10-year. So that's enough on the economy and interest rates. What's going on here with the school district? These numbers are as of April 30th because I was a little slow in asking Dave for the numbers to get them. So I used the April numbers, but they didn't change too much from May. This is a big overview of how the funds are invested for the school district. And this is all funds. This is not just the general funds. This is all funds of the school district. We manage a portion of the funds with a wide variety of assets. Dave also works with Fifth Third and multi-bank securities to diversify the funds even more. Star Ohio has a lot of the cash in it, and Westfield Bank is the main depository. The one we do not have listed here is the small amount that you're carrying at Huntington, a bank. What's going on with the portfolio that we manage? And I should add that this is all that we do is manage public funds. So we're fairly in tune what's going on with the day-to-day changes, it seems like, with the budget bill, and would be prepared to make changes here as we need to. We have fielded a lot of phone calls over the past month about all of that. But right now, where we're at, this is as of May. The portfolio that we assist on is just a little over 19 million, with the average yield pushing 4%. The weighted average maturity is pushing 2 years. And why is that important? That means we've locked in higher rates for the coming years. We have the estimated income there as well. And there on the bottom left-hand side does show the maturity distribution. We do have about half of the portfolio invested in securities in 28 and beyond in order to lock in interest rates. Now that the levy did pass, we do feel a little bit more comfortable being able to do that. Again, we know that there are a lot of unknowns with the budget bill, and we'd be prepared for that. It is well diversified. I mentioned commercial paper is about 15% of the portfolio right now, but it's very well diversified across all of the different asset classes that we have at our disposal. Any questions on that? Lastly is closing thoughts is going forward. Communication is key to investing the district's funds, and we do have an open communication with Dave and his team, speaking quite often, not only to me or someone in our office about the needs of the school district. And right now, yes, we're waiting on June 30th, just like you all are, to make some, where we're headed with other investments here. It's kind of a quiet period as we approach that, but just know that we are prepared for that to make changes if there was, some drastic changes that would have to be made. Any questions, thoughts? Well, I appreciate it, and good luck here to the school district as we see what happens. Have a great night.
Thanks, Ryan.
Well, I want to thank Ryan for coming up from Cincinnati to talk to you guys here today. Again, we should have him in here in December so that he could, enjoy our December parties. Okay. June is a much better time. I thought you would like to go through all the snow and hail and all that. So, take care. Okay. For the financials, these are the May financials. We wanted to give this to you before we talk about June. So with our beginning balance, didn't change from July of last year, so it was at 33 million. It's still at 33 million. Our revenues, 94 million for the month of May, or through the month of May, and our expenditures, 81 million through the month of May. Our ending balance right now is, our ending balance for May 31st is $43,800,000. This is a decrease of $2 million since April, and we are looking that this includes April's encumbrances. So, our revenue is made up of the 94 million. This is 100.1% of what we anticipated for the year on our 5-year forecast. And you'll see when we talk about investments why it's at 100.1. Our real property, it's still at 61 million. We didn't get anything in the month of May at all. Our state foundation is at $16.6 million. This is 3% over last year at this time. And again, we received $400,000 from the casino revenue. And that hasn't changed since, I believe it was March. So we go on to our expenditures. Our expenditures, total expenditures, are at 85.58% based on the 5-year forecast. So you could see our expenditures are running low compared to the forecast. Our personnel services are $50 million. This is 1.4% above last year at this time, and 2.4% above the last time we had 26 pays in the period. And That was back in 22-23. Benefits are $18.6 million. This is down 3.9% compared to last year. And then finally, we have our other expenditures at $13.1 million, and this is down 4% from our previous year. And that's a major reason why we're where we are with our expenditures being down. However, on the revenue side, our investment income, we're almost at $2 million in investment income. Ryan was talking about how our rates have gone up, and yes, we've experienced that with our investments. If we're looking at $2 million in investments, that's over $1 million of property taxes. So House Bill 96, which is now in caucus with the Senate, they're talking about limiting us to 30% or 50% or 40% if you want to, take the difference of the two. This would mean we wouldn't get $2 million to offset property taxes and extend the levies that we have. So what would happen is we would be looking at limiting our investments to 6 months, 8 months at a time. And so the short-term investments aren't as good as keeping them out there 2 years, 3 years at a time. So I just wanted to bring that up. Also in May, this is $442,000 over last May. So our forecasted true days cash, you could see the, I want to call it a yellow line there in May. We are up from last year, which is reflection of the levy that was passed in November, and we started collecting actually in February. So you could see the levy has helped improve our bottom line. What we are anticipating for June is that it'll be below 2 years ago, but it will be above last year at this time. And as I always end this, where could you find information? You could go right to our website here with medinabees.org. You could find all our documents going back. So any questions on the financials? Thank you.
All right. As soon as Mr. Chambers sits down, we've got we're at that board communication spot. Would you like to go first, Miss Pritchard?
Okay. I'd like to congratulate the boys rugby team for winning the state championship. The boys baseball team lost a 2-day game regional final due to the weather, but they did have an amazing season, and Coach Kelly was named the state coach of the year in Division I. The Just Right state tournament at Ashland, we had Elizabeth Kling was 5th in the 11-12 division, and the 9-10 division, Caitlin Finn earned Director's Choice Award. Saturday, I attended the Juneteenth celebration on the square. I was there in the morning. Even though it rained, they still had a nice crowd, and there was a lot of dancing and music going on. I would like to remind everyone that now is the time, since we're probably not going to have a July board meeting. If you need a physical, the free clinic at the hospital offers free physicals. So if you need one, you just have to call, make an appointment, and everything is free. I'd just like to mention the passing of 2 former Medina teachers, Barb Kowalczyk and Pete Frazier, who both worked at Sidney Fenn. That must be the place to work because both of them lived to be 97. So that's a good sign for any teacher that works there. And I'd also like to mention, I'm starting a scholarship program that will start in the 25-26 school year. It's not going to be your typical scholarship program. It's going to be for kids anywhere with a grade point average of 2 to 3.2, that who need money to go to college or need tools to continue to work for a job, and the applications will come out. It's in conjunction with the Medina Community Foundation. And also in there will be an award for an outstanding teacher and an outstanding support staff. So it's going to have a good name. It's just going to be called the Gene Pritchard Scholarship Fund. So anyways, it's just easier to remember that way. So I just wanted to make that announcement also so the kids would know next year to apply. That's all. Thank you.
Mrs. Parkhurst, would you like to go next? Or you'd like to go last? Okay. Mrs. Smoyer then.
Fine. I wanted to thank the Career Center for inviting the board members to come to the graduation who are not on the Career Center board. I was one of the fortunate ones to go sit out in the rain. It was kind of fun. But hey, you got to make do with what you have. And they were very gracious. They gave all of the students ponchos, which was great. It was just, unfortunately, a bad rainy day. Otherwise, I wanted to thank everybody for allowing us as board members to give the diplomas to the kids. I was fortunate to give my daughter her diploma, as well as my Girl Scouts, my Color Guard girls, and so many of the Fen kids that I have grown to love. They're just like my own kids, so it was wonderful to be able to give all of them their diplomas. And maybe volunteers can live as long working at Fen, perhaps, what you said? I hope so. Otherwise, yes, attended the policy committee, and then I did want to say a belated Father's Day to all these fathers that are up here and help so well with all of our schools. Appreciate it.
All right, I'll go next, and then we'll let Mrs. Parkhurst go last. I don't have a lot. I would like to say that it was enjoyable attending graduation again and passing out diplomas, and as when my son graduated, called me Judge Dub, so that was interesting to dress up again. They have an interesting set of humor, that's all I'm going to say. I just like to remind all of our citizens that we've got lots of kids out running around when it is nice, so please be very, very aware when you're driving around our city. They are playing in the streets, and just be careful, slow down in the neighborhoods, because they will run out in front of you, and we just don't want anybody to get hurt. So just be aware. And I did stop by the high school the other night just to look at the track, how that's coming. And the paving's done. We're just waiting for the outgassing and the rain to wash the pavement off. And then that is going to be a really nice addition to Ken Dukes when that's all finished later this summer. And that's all I've got. So Mrs. Parkhurst, you're up.
Thank you. One last word about graduation. I just wanted to thank all of our administrators and staff, everyone that works so hard to pull off graduation. It takes a long time to plan that. I know that there are people working on that practically all year round to do that, and this was a big year with the 150th anniversary, and we were fortunate that we did have some nice weather, so I do just want to thank everyone that was involved for putting that together. It was a really, really nice day for all of us, and for our students especially who graduated as the class of 2025. I know Mr. Sable mentioned some things about the state budget plan. It is in reconciliation now, although at this point in time, it looks like our district will benefit from some of those changes. That is to be seen as part of this reconciliation process. So I just also wanted to reiterate that advocating on behalf of our district and public schools cannot stop. I encourage all of our community members to continue advocating on our behalf. Our legislators like to hear from all of us, especially the voting community. I know just yesterday, I think that the board members received information from the Ohio School Boards Association asking us to really reach out within the next 48 hours, which is now, I think, next 24 hours. So if you haven't done that, I encourage everyone to do that and let them know our story and what it would mean to our district to lose any funding or to not be able to have emergency levies and all of that. And if you're not sure what to talk about or what talking points should be or how it would affect us, I encourage every one of you to contact Mr. Sable, Mr. Chambers, any of the board members. We'll be happy to have a conversation. I want to thank the administration for giving us the update on the 5-year strategic plan, the last plan that we had. It's hard to believe it has been that long already. I believe I'm the only board member here that was on the board when we implemented that plan, so I'm happy to see that come to fruition. We've done some great things, even when things in the world have not been great. We have done some great things for our students and our community and staff, and I'm very grateful and thankful to everyone here and all of our employees and everyone that helps make our schools successful. Dr. Qualick mentioned QPR training, and I have taken that training, and I encourage board members and anyone listening to participate in that. I took it. It was free. I apologize, I can't recall the community organization that was offering it, but it was here in Medina, and it was free, and it was very, very valuable. So I encourage everyone to look into that. It is not a large time commitment, and the benefits definitely outweigh any costs. Again, it was free, but any time that you might incur to take that course. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention on a personal note that I will not be running for school board this year. I think there's been some rumors out there, so I thought that I would just publicly state that so that it's out there. I have enjoyed my time on the board. When December and the end of my term come around, it will be 10.5 years. I have learned a lot and met some great people, and I am definitely better from my experience and honored to have served the community for any period of time, let alone this long. I never thought that would happen. So I do appreciate that. And I encourage anyone who is interested in running for school board to please contact any of the current board members. We'll be happy to share our experience. I'm happy to tell you what it's like to be a board member, something that you might not see on the Ohio School Board's website. So I think petitions are due here in August. So what's that? August 7th, there you go. So I just wanted to get that out there as well. So thank you so much, Mr. West.
Anything else from anybody? Becky, do you have anything else?
See, if I go last, I get it all out there. Thank you.
Mr. Chambers, your action items, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Public comment. Do we have any? We have no public comment. So, Mr. Chambers, your action items.
Okay, if it pleases the board, item number 1, it is recommended the Board of Education approve the May 25 Treasurer's Financial Report. Item number 2, it's recommended that the Board of Education approve the following fund-to-fund transfers. I'd like to say this is a long list. A lot of it's for cleanup purposes. You may recognize with the athletics, we're moving from their revenue buckets into the main athletic account because the main athletic account is the one where all the expenditures occur. Their athletic buckets, all the buckets do is receive the monies and there's no expenditures out of those buckets at all. We also have our annual movement from the sales tax fund to the permanent improvement for turf, $50,000. And also we're zeroing out our COPS fund because the COPS fund paid the interest for the COPS here back in the end of May. So here in June, we're zeroing it out. We also have monies moving from the general fund to NHS graduation, Grant Us Hope, Northfield field trip, Claggett field trips, Route district supervisor activities, and the OAG safety grant. The reason we have monies moving back into the safety grant was last year monies were taken out of there inadvertently, And so we have to make the transfer in there for the expenditures. All of the OAG safety grant was spent this year, 27,000 some odd dollars. What else? We have our emergency levies here. If you look, you see the emergency levy, which is now the substitute levy, is funding the guidance portion and the instruction portion. These are the same thing, but in reverse of the athletics, where monies are all coming out of the guidance and instruction portion, but there's no revenues coming in, so we're zeroing those portions out as well. And you also have the 24 emergency levy going to the general fund. I thought this was a good idea when I set this up, because when the original emergency levy was set up back in 2014, all these accounts were created. And all these accounts were created, which were almost duplicate of what was created in the general fund. So I thought, hey, this would be a good idea. So when we submitted our tax budget here in January, we said, what we were going to do is just take the emergency levy. We were going to spend what the county takes from that emergency levy monies, and we were just going to transfer everything into the general fund because all those accounts are already created. Why not? Well, guess what the state legislators are doing anyways? They're telling us there will be no more emergency levies, and any monies that come into the emergency levy should be going right to the general fund anyhow. So I was a little before my time. Let's go down a little bit here. Your Title III LEP, these are just clearing up the 2024 LEP fund because expenditures went out, but revenues did not go in. Item number 3, it's recommended the Board of Education approve the following advance of funds. This is our annual monies going to the title grants to zero them out because the title grants are, we have to spend the monies before we receive the monies from the state. So you could see that roughly $150,000 is coming out of the general fund and going into the title grants. Last year, if I recall, it was we were not able to get a final project cash request in May, so it was roughly $1.6 million that the general fund advanced to the title grants. So. And then we have item number 4. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the final 24-25 appropriations. You did receive the appropriations, but I want to hit highlights of that. The general fund, I want to compare last year's final to this year's final. The general fund final appropriations are down by $432,000. For the emergency levy, because of the transfers that we did this year, the emergency levy is up $10.8 million, and I believe $10.6 million of that is for those transfers. We also have our district managed activity, which is the 300 funds, and that is down by nearly $500,000. And the reason this is down is because last year we made 2 transfers, one at the beginning of the year in July from the buckets into the athletic fund, and then at the end of the year we made the transfers that we're making now. So that's why it's down roughly $400,000. We did have our miscellaneous state grant up by $271,000. The main culprit behind that is, I believe Ryan received $300,000 for a track replacement. We also, our ESSER fund is down $1.2 million because we've spent the last of our ESSER funds. All the other title grants are down compared to the year before. Our permanent improvement is down, and this relates to the rec center expansion. We paid for the rec center expansion over the summer of 24-25, and I'm sorry, for 23-24. Summer of 24-25. So we had to do the appropriations by June of 24. So that's not occurring, so that's why the permanent improvements are down. Our capital grants are up, and this is because we had more projects this year, including the heritage renovation. Our food service is down. I asked Angie about this, and she said there were a reduced number of student purchases this year for both breakfast and lunch programs. So it was down by $600,000. And then our employee benefits, it's up by $1.4 million. This is, if you work the numbers, it's a 10.8% increase. But if you recall, our premium this year went up 12%. So you could see that there is that gap, and that gap is due to reductions that were made in personnel this year.
All right, I would entertain a motion to, for treasurer's action items, number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's action items 1 through 4.
Thank you, Mrs. Pritchard.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Parkhurst. Any questions or comments, anybody?
Mr. Chambers, did you mention one time that the state is changing the accounts? So, is that correct? Am I recalling that correctly?
Yes, the emergency levy funds are going to be placed into the general fund for operating purposes.
Okay, just those accounts specifically.
Correct.
Okay. I was thinking there was going to be more and we'd have to.
There are other funds that they're getting rid of, but those are because the funds no longer exist, so.
Okay, thank you.
Any others from anybody? Hearing none, Mr. Chambers, when you're ready.
Yes, Ms. Pritchard,
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst, Ms.
Aye.
Sawyer,
Aye.
and Mr. West.
Yes.
Thank you. It was because Ms. Sawyer threw me off. I'm sorry.
Mr. Sable, your action items, please.
Number 1 is donations. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following donations. Thank you to our high school staff for their collection of almost $1,400 to donate to Collins Cares Cure Cancer. This is in honor of Liz Kiosis, our cafeteria manager at the high school, who I think was on the last board agenda for retirement. That organization is in honor of her son, who passed away from cancer, and her retirement gig is going to be running that organization full-time. So it's nice to see that support for our staff, for each other. Number 2, let's make it official for our class of 2025. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the list of seniors of the class of 25 who have fulfilled all the requirements for the state of Ohio in the Medina City Schools for graduation. Number 3, as was mentioned earlier, it is, board docs is going really slow tonight. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the second reading and adoption of the following policies, bylaws, forms, and rescinded bylaws. Again, these were presented at the last board meeting for first reading and have been vetted through our policy committee, as Dr. Kwolek shared. Service agreements. It is slow.
I would just like to say paper isn't slow.
Well, mine's not coming up, but I know what it is. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following service agreements as presented. Mine still isn't up, but I know the first there it goes. I know the first service agreement is, there we go, is with the Educational Service Center of Medina County. We hold an annual contract with the ESC of Medina County for services that they provide to our school district. This is actually a minimal contract for the size of our district. The reason why is because of our size, we're able to provide many services internally more cost effectively than contracting them out. But they do help us in many avenues, especially within our technology department and special education department. The other contracts within this agreement are all for special education in preparation for the upcoming school year. These are all contracts that we have held in the past. I do want to point out that this includes a contract with the Medina County Juvenile Detention Center, which we are the fiscal agents for, and also provide all of the teachers and aides that work within that program. Number 5 is a memorandum of understanding with Ashland University. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following partnership with Ashland University. This is to allow student teachers to be placed here in Medina City Schools, and as Mr. Shields had shared earlier this evening, we have an extended relationship with Ashland to try and increase the amount of student teachers we have coming into our district through Ashland. Number 6 is, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the memorandum of understanding. My thing's 2 things behind. It's recommended that the Board of Education adopt the attached book list for the 2025-2026 school year. These were presented at a first reading at our last meeting and have been vetted through our Community Curriculum Committee. We also have some stipend payments on the agenda. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following stipend payments to district teachers who have served as cooperating teachers for students attending universities. We have several field trips on the agenda. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the following overnight field trips in compliance with Policy 2340. All of these field trips are for summer camps. And these are paid for through the parents and or support through our athletic boosters. And number 9 is personnel. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve all the following personnel recommendations pending completion and submission of all required paperwork to our Human Resources Department. There's an additional recommendation within here, a recommendation that the Board of Education approve the revised support staff substitute and temporary worker rates effective June 8th, 2025 as submitted. These increases, as you all know, we have a substitute shortage in Ohio in education. We have an educator shortage. Subs are, I would argue, even bigger challenge. So this is to keep us competitive with surrounding districts. In addition, I would like to wish Haley Mueller the best. She has accepted a head principal position at Independence, where she'll be a middle school principal. When we're hiring people in associate type roles, we're always trying to find people that have that drive and growth mindset that they want to work in head principal positions. The good part of that is we work on getting the best people in that positions. The challenge is, unfortunately, over the years, we lose some of those when we don't have positions available for them. I have no doubt she's going to be successful. I know we were hoping that she would land a head position someday in our district, but it just didn't work out that way. I would also like to point out that Karen McGinty is on our substitute list. So I have no doubt that Jim's phone will have her on speed dial whenever we need her to come in here and assist in a substitute capacity in an administrative role. Thank you.
I would entertain a motion to accept Superintendent Action Items H.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Parker. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Smoyer. Any questions or comments from anybody?
Yeah, I have a question. Mr. Shields, are bus drivers leaving because they're getting better job offers, or they're just quitting?
Sometimes I do go to other districts. I just saw where Highland made an offer to any new driver of a $2,500 signing bonus. So we're going to continue to look at different things that we need to do to try to maintain bus drivers.
All right, thank you.
It's very competitive right now.
Any other questions or comments from anybody?
I do want to make a comment that I am glad that we are looking to do an increase for the substitutes because it is very much needed.
Agreed. Anything else from anybody? Hearing none, Mr. Chambers, whenever you're ready, please.
Ms. Parkhurst,
Aye.
Ms. Smoyer,
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard,
Aye.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Thank you.
We will need an executive session tonight, and I would entertain it. Let me read this. Executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, or discipline, or compensation of a public employee or official, discussion with the board's legal counsel of disputes involving the board that are the subject of pending or imminent court action, and preparation for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment. I would entertain a motion to move to executive.
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Smoyer? Mr. Chambers?
Ms. Pritchard,
Aye.
Ms. Smoyer,
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst,
Aye.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Thank you.
At the conclusion, we will, there will be no action at the end of the executive session. Thank you very much, everybody.